Good morning. It is June 5th, I think today, maybe. I don't know. It's June. It's sunny. And it's gonna be hot. So those of you who watch my daughter's vlogs, Jess's, or Sandy's, sheepishly me, my beautiful wife, you might know that we've been trying something, I don't know, new. Yeah, we're just investigating. It's something that we do as farmers. We like to try stuff out as I sit here in the shade. And that's what we're doing today. I haven't done a vlog in a long time, and maybe I'll talk about that in a little bit. But I thought today, why not? We'll give this a crack. But we do have a Fendt tractor here. We had another one, a little 512 it was called, or number. It was a 120 horsepower loader tractor that you probably saw. If you want, I'll maybe try to link some stuff to Jess's or Sandy's video where we're using it on the disc bind doing some hay. Anyways, this one's with this tractor's with a planter. So it's a Fendt 939, so 390 horsepower. I think engine, PTO, I'm not sure what it is. But yeah, it's here to demo this corn planter behind me, and it is freaking massive. So we already demoed an air seeder that Jess had some video on, and maybe Sandy did too, I can't remember. An Avatar made by the same company that makes our Jokers, so Horsch. This is a planter, it's called a Maestro, or that's what they call their corn planters or planters, or Maestros. This is a prototype unit, I believe. And what this big beast does is it's going to plant corn and well, it can plant corn, but it's going to plant our white beans today because we plant our white beans in 30-inch rows. And this is a 24 row, 30-inch planter with dry fertilizer. So the way this thing works is that there's 3 tanks in the center here, 1, 2, and 3. And they could do seed or fertilizer, dry fertilizer. And that's something we've been using, is the dry fertilizer with my Alari card on my planter. What I like about this system here is just a little bit more compact. And instead of having a row of fertilizer units like at my Alari way out front, they're kind of like tight to the frame, as you can see here. So that's where the openers are. The seed units are kind of behind them, and we'll take a look at them. What we're going to be doing is the center tank will be seed today, and I think the back tank and maybe the front tank will be fertilizer. And we'll kind of get that set up. It's all ready to go other than calibrating it for metering the fertilizer out. For seed, it actually just blows it back to the little mini hoppers back here to plant. So very similar to a lot of the North American planters that are made. This one's just a little bit different because it's got the dry fertilizer, and it's hard to get that kind of stuff on North American planters. A lot of liquid fertilizer, but not a lot of dry options. So that's what's for me intriguing about this. So these are the row units that plant the seed, and very similar to what you would see on other corn planters. Double disc opener, trash whippers to move residue out of the way, and that's a fertilizer opener here that's 2.5 inches off the row, and puts fertilizer supposedly 2 inches below the seed. And this is the closing system here. The meters are in here. That meter right at the seed. This is just a magnetic cover. So it blows seed back here from the tank, and then it gets metered right here underneath this cover. There's your seed disc, and yeah, so it plants just like my planter, to be honest. Electric clutches, all that fun stuff. So we're gonna get this going here probably after lunch, but I'm gonna plant with mine to start with today. Another interesting feature about this kind of whole, I guess, tank compartments that we keep the seed and fertilizer in, each one is on a load cell. So we actually know how many pounds or kgs of product are in each one. And interesting part about a lot of this new technology now, it's kind of isobus. So what it means basically is it jumps on the tractor's computer network basically and uses displays within the tractor itself to actually just load up the stuff that runs the planter, the electronics part, and does all the section control and blockage monitors. So it's pretty cool. I can show you that stuff once we get into the Fendt and get running it. Took a bit for me to figure out how to move my boundaries, so my field boundaries that I have for each field into this so it knows where it is, and also my guidance lines, because I want to kind of keep my guidance lines the same. So I got that figured out yesterday. To kind of record the data for my own records, we're going to run it through Field View, which is very similar to what I run in, well, it's identical to what I run in my planter tractor, so that all my planting data goes to Field View, and then I can actually pull it into my software later through my Ag Leader SMS stuff that I use to do a whole bunch of analysis. So yeah, 24 row planter. We would never get a 24 row planter. It's 60 feet wide. We run 30 feet. So if I were ever to get another planter, it would, most I would ever do is 16 rows, which would be a 40-foot planter. We've had one like that before. We've kind of gone more to 30 feet to kind of, I don't know, we call it traffic control, but try to keep everything the same dimension. The sprayer's 90, the air seeder's 30, the planter's 30. The only thing that really is kind of off now is the combine stuff, which we will maybe talk about some other time, because I think some people are still wondering what kind of combine I got, and I will tell you shortly. So anyways, I'm gonna get working on my stuff because we need to get going here. So for comparison to the row units that are on the Maestro, because they have a hopper, it's a little bit more complicated, but the meter is kind of down underneath over here. It's kind of hard to see. Basically just right above those wheels, and that's what meters the seed out. So electric clutch is on mine as well, hydraulic downforce just like the Maestro, so very similar. Planting capabilities, I would say though, because these are the older Maximerge Plus units, they're stamped steel, so they're not maybe as rugged as the Maestro or the newer XP units from John Deere. So just to give you a comparison about my planter versus the Horsch over there, mine is basically a 3-point hitch planter that's kind of hooked up to the Solari cart that does the dry fertilizer in that big hopper up there. So for me, my seed is in these yellow boxes, fertilizer's in the big green hopper, my fertilizer coulters are like right here, so you can see there's a bit of a gap between my fertilizer coulters and my planter. And because of that, I have to kind of keep these units, the fertilizer units, off the planter row, the row units, because when you go around a curve or if there's a bit of side draft, you don't want the fertilizer too close to the beans because you can get fertilizer burn on the root system. So we're getting fertilizer down, not as close to the row as I want, just because of that gap, that distance between the opener, fertilizer opener, and the planter units. So yeah, 30 feet, 12 rows, half the width of the Horsch, but similar idea, dry fertilizer and seed. Just that I have the seed here and the fertilizer there versus the Horsch that has it all in those compartments in front of the toolbar there on the planter. So that's kind of my unit. We're gonna go plant with it for a little bit, and then this afternoon we'll plant with the Fendt and the Maestro planter and see how that goes. So we're just gonna do a little test run here to get the depth kind of set on everything. So we got everything going. It took a little bit of work, and I appreciate Jeremy Noble, who's actually brought the demo out for me to try, his help. It's really muggy here, humid air, really hot, and we just didn't have enough talc on the lubricant, seed lubricant basically on the seed, and it wasn't actually flowing out of the tank in the back of the planter, and it caused a lot of problems right off the hop. And once we finally figured that out, it's been running perfectly smooth now, and really enjoying the Fendt tractor as well. It's super quiet in here. You probably can tell with the lack of background noise in the tractor. It's running at 1300 RPMs on the engine, which is quite low. Our tractor, we would be running around 1800 RPM. So we're pulling this planter at 6 miles an hour. I don't know, 6 by 60 feet, 6 mile an hour by 60 feet. We're knocking acres off here quick. So it's quite awesome. It's pretty cool the way the planter works. It's got these two big hydraulic cylinders underneath the bottom of the planter that are kind of attached to the wheels back there in the planter, the big dual tires. And as you lower the planter, those cylinders, I think, retract probably, and suck up some of the tire and help distribute the weight of the tank. And the central fill part of the planter, where all the weight is on the tongue, it actually lifts up those tires and spreads that weight across the whole planter frame. So this being a 60-foot planter, it does a very good job of kind of making sure that the hydraulic pressure across the whole planter frame and the weight is there to get the units in the ground. I think it has the ability to put up to 750 pounds of pressure on per row unit to make sure we can get in the ground. So it's running right now kind of on auto, like my planter, auto depth control. Well, let's say depth control, down pressure is what I'm looking for. So it's doing the down pressure thing automatically like my planter. It's got section control like my planter. So it's got all the same features and bells and whistles from a technology standpoint. And it's actually pretty easy to work on and simple to kind of play with some stuff and do different things. So it was actually a good experience for us to have a little trouble off the start with the seed not going, because it let me actually work with the planter a little bit to change some seed discs for a better one that worked better with the seed, but also kind of work around the units and try to see how they work. And it's actually quite interesting how they make it so user-friendly to troubleshoot some of the problems. So the Fendt tractor I'm getting used to after driving that other 512 that we had a couple days ago. It's not hard because they're all the same, and so I'm just kind of sitting back and enjoying my time here, and it will be brief because we're knocking off the acres. I'll flip you around and I'll show you the screen for the planter. I'm just coming up to the headland. I'm going to turn, and then I'll catch you on the way back. So we're running the field view just to get an idea of how it's planting, kind of a visual. It's not set up 100% with when I set it up last night with the kind of offsets for when it starts and when it stops, but what it does is it gives an indication of how it's planting. Here, I'm not going to get into too much of it because it's kind of a video on its own, but we're actually watching right here is the planter screen. This is the tractor screen. That's the guidance, the kind of section control, so we know what we're doing the right stuff, but most of the stuff we're working with is on this planter here. I can make it bigger so I can see what's going on. So these are the kind of the roll units showing us our seeding rate, our speed, how much down pressure we have on the units, kind of our average seeding rate. So it all looks to be going fairly well, and that's kind of it. Fendt tractors, I think there's lots of videos on them if you're interested. They probably do a lot better job explaining them than I can. We're going into kind of corn stalks that we ran the joker across in the fall, and then we actually jokered them 2 more times this spring and rolled it We're kind of fighting to save moisture, and now that we kind of got that rain three days ago, we're pretty good for moisture, but it's pretty windy, so we just got to keep an eye on not losing too much. So we're trying to plant them at the right depth just to make sure that they're in moisture and that they won't dry out. So yeah, just cruising along. I'll talk about some of this stuff and why we're doing this when I get planning back into my planner. I'm a lot more comfortable in it, so I'll take time to have a conversation with you about why we're looking at doing some different things, why we've been trying out different stuff, and just kind of give you a bit of an update on the farm and what's going on. I think you've seen bits and pieces with Jess and Sandy's videos, but I'll maybe give you a tractor cab update on what's going on. And then, yeah, so I'm just going to cruise along here for a bit and enjoy my Saturday. And that's what I mean. Jeremy came out on a Saturday, worked hard to get this thing going the way it's supposed to, and top notch. I give him full marks for making sure the demo experience for a customer is awesome. So yeah, I'm gonna enjoy my time with the Fendt and the Horsch planter, the Maestro. If it's windy, I apologize. I got a dead cat on the mic, but it's gale force winds. We just ran out of seed, so we're waiting for Jess to come with the telehandler, so I thought I'd just walk out here with you guys and look at the planter. But Sandy's up top. We're just about done what we're gonna do, and it's been very good. I'm quite happy with it. It seems to be planting very nice. Looking behind me, we're planting white beans. Depth control looks good, and yeah, have to say I like it. Okay, I'm back in my planter. 30 feet wide, not quite as nice as 60, but that's okay. It's what we're used to. Really enjoyed that Horsch Maestro planter. It's a prototype. It's just been released or announced now that it's going to be available. And the biggest difference with it versus some of the other Maestro planters that you see is that the center beam that hooks onto the tractor and goes all the way out to the toolbar that the tanks sit on. With the one that we were using today, they actually kind of notch out the center of the tank, so it's like a W. So the beam goes down, and those tanks kind of sit down on top of the beam. So it's a little lower profile, which is really quite nice for visibility at the back. So yeah, it's now going to be available for next year. I apologize for the exposure. I'm going to try to wing it the way it is because just the way the sun is this time of day. It's like 7:30, so I'm going to turn here a second and I'll be back with you. So we'll deal with the sun here a little bit. I'll try to keep my face down in it. So anyways, maybe people are wondering why we're trying out so much different equipment. What we're trying to figure out for our farm is how we're going to plant our crops. Yeah, we have lots of ways to do it, and what we have right now does work. Except the issue I'm running into, or what I perceive as my issue, is I would really like to use a planter to plant our soybeans, not our air seeder. I think you probably I'll show some footage, I can find some, but you know, our John Deere air seeder, it works really nice, but air seeders, we've always kind of said, or a drill, is really just controlled spill. We don't quite get the accuracy that we're looking for like we do with the corn planter. Corn planter is metered, so the seed's kind of picked up on a disc and then dropped to the ground, so you get kind of a bang 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 approach to better stand with the use of a planter, or having, you know, that ability to singulate. Air seeders and drills just don't really have that ability. Some are a little bit better than others, but it's still really just kind of, I would say haphazardly placed, but it's kind of like there's 5 plants there, then there's a skip for a little bit, and then it's 2, and there's a skip for a little bit. So I really want to see some better consistency in our planter or not our planter, but using a planter for soybeans. So I think, you know, we tried the Avatar. I'll put some footage in here for that too, but the Avatar was really nice. It'd be a really awesome machine to plant wheat with. A little bit narrower spacings than we're used to. It was 6.2 inches, I think, and we're normally 7.5, so wheat seems to like to grow a little bit better in narrower rows. So it would be good for that. I haven't had time to check the stand yet that we look like we might get out of it. It looks good from the road doing you know, 80K, but we'll go out and take some stand counts, or at least look at it to see how it compared to our John Deere. You know, our John Deere worked pretty good this year. Our 1990 CCS. So it's nice that way. But yeah, I'm just striving to find something better. So I wanted to see what the Avatar was like, because that's more of an air seeder style. Our air seeder kind of meters out soybeans across a big long manifold, where the Avatar actually drops seeds through a smaller meter, and then it blows it back to towers, and those towers then distribute the seed out to the different row units. So yeah, I really liked it. We just don't know what it looks like. We also tried a Bourgault. They're made in Western Canada by a company there. And shout out to Delta Farm Equipment or Delta Power Equipment for demoing that. Our local case dealer and Brett Warwick, who made that happen. You know, it came out the same kind of concept as the Avatar. I don't really have any footage of the Bourgault, but the same kind of style in terms of the way it plants soybeans. So I've really kind of settled back to looking for a planter for corn and soybeans, I think, and our air seeder would be quite fine to continue planting our wheat with. I do like dry fertilizer, so when you look at dry fertilizer options, like I said, there's not a lot of North American options. I have my Alari system here that works pretty good, but it's it can't plant soybeans. I could make a toolbar that goes on the back and then use a fertilizer tank as a seed tank and blow seed back to hoppers. That's a possibility, but I think I'm looking for something that's a little bit more compact and tight, something that's got the fertilizer openers maybe a little bit closer to the planter units, so you know, we can get away from using some of that liquid starter that we have been, just to help the corn plants get to the fertilizer on this unit. So, you know, I'm all over the place, and the gentleman that I bought the combine from, that I will tell you soon what I got, many of you probably maybe have guessed already, but they also sell Fendt tractors, and he just was gracious enough to let us try one in hay and that Maestro planter, because of what they sell. They sell Fendt tractors as well, so that's why there's a Fendt tractor on the Maestro planter. The Avatar, we actually put my tractor on the Avatar when we demoed it, just because for simplicity of my auto steer stuff and everything else. But so yeah, really like the Fendt tractors too. It takes a bit to get used to driving one. It's different than what I have here now. I don't have IVT transmission or a CVT. Excuse me. It's been a long day. But yeah, so that's the thing. We're trying out a whole bunch of stuff. Doesn't mean we're going to do anything. We're just trying to, you know, for me, I'm trying to get my mind wrapped around how things work. You know, the last thing you want is buyer's remorse when you're buying farm equipment. It's gotten quite expensive, like everything in life seems to be now, kind of as we hopefully come through this COVID pandemic. So I'm just trying to figure out what's going to work best for our farm. So some of you might be wondering where I've been hiding. It's been, probably a while since I've done a video. Maybe the combine demo video? I don't remember. I might have made a few cameos in Sandy and Jess's videos. Why haven't I been doing my own? I don't know, actually, to be honest. Just kind of took a break for a bit and got used to not doing it. And I think the other thing too was Jess was wanting to do the stuff we were doing around the farm. You know, for her, in all honesty, it was probably a nice distraction from COVID and not being able to hang out with her friends. You know, she's able to kind of do videos about what she's been up to in her life and working on the farm with myself and Sandy. So I just didn't want a whole bunch of repetitive content, to be honest. You know, now that she's getting ready to go off to university here in September, you know, she won't be having the footage again that, you know, of the stuff that her and I do together, that we've been doing for almost, I guess, a year now, or a year or more. So I kind of just wanted her to have a chance to do what she wanted to do in terms of making videos and let her have some of the content. So that's probably why I haven't been around. So with Jess, as I said, taking off in September, I might go back to making, I'll make videos. I'm going to make some videos still. I'm not sure about consistency. And that's, you know, I apologize. You know, I think, you know, I watch a lot of YouTubers and I do like consistency in the videos, but I just don't know if I can promise that. The one thing I will promise though is that I will do a combine video about what we bought and the reasons why we bought it, because we're going to need it soon. Our winter canola that we planted again this year, or last fall for this year, it's 2 weeks ahead of last year. Last year I think we were around the 13th or 11th of July when we combined it. I figured we'll be combining canola here the 1st of July, so between then and now I'll have to do a combine review. But anyways, I guess I just want to do a shout out or a thank you to Jeremy Noble at HJV for providing the Avatar and the Maestro demo, and also the Fendt tractor, the loader tractor, and I guess the Fendt that was on the Maestro. And thanks to Brent at Delta Power and Equipment for the Burbo demo on that air seeder too that I have no footage on. You know, it's really appreciated by farmers who can try equipment and get a feel for what it's going to do, to see if it's going to be a good fit for their operations, and I just really appreciate the chance to try some of that stuff. I think with that, I'm going to sign off, finish planting my white beans, and crack on. So, nice talking to you again. We'll see you in a while.